everybody. Welcome to Psychom Chats with Nzigi. My name is Nzigi Saki, and you know what we do? It's all about getting into those intricacies of science communication and getting to know science communicators and kind of getting advice from them on why they're doing it and how are they succeeding at it, and also what are some of the challenges that they faced in the beginning and how they overcame them. And it's all really about finding what makes science communication work and how best we can make it work in our different spaces. So, today we have a scientist who's a fantastic science communicator and also has her own organization which is all about empowering female minds. So, I'm not going to waste much time. I'm going to bring on Anna to join us and have this chat with us. This is a conversation. We're here to chat, we're here to engage. So use that comment section and ask questions. That's what it's all about, and let's have fun. Hi, Anna. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Just relaxing. It's the weekend, so
Yes, yes, we are. I
Yeah.
should mention that we are doing this on a weekend because things happen and we need to adjust.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because we tried to have obviously the chats on Wednesday and certain things happened, but here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually gonna try to, don't mind me, I'm gonna try to put on a filter. It's like morning. I literally just woke up. I feel like I'm so tired.
Okay.
There we go. I feel like that looks
Okay.
better.
Is that much better for you?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, cool. We're gonna jump straight into the conversation and not waste much of your time so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's get to know you a little bit. For somebody who's never met you, who's like, who is Dr. Anna Ampaw? Tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, so I currently am a postdoctoral researcher. I just finished my PhD in chemistry earlier this year, actually, which was really exciting because after putting in 5 years of work, um, yeah, it was just really, really exciting to actually be at the finish line. So I graduated and then I moved on to do a postdoctoral um, fellowship. And so essentially, that's just kind of your researcher. You have your PhD and you're working in a lab. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing that in the field of medicinal chemistry, which is also a very interesting field. But then aside from that, I'm also a nonprofit founder. So I founded a nonprofit last year in 2021. And so that is called Empowering Female Minds in STEM. And it's directed towards African women in STEM, just to kind of empower them and also to prepare them and equip them for everything that you need to know and the skills that you need to learn so that they can succeed in STEM. And so that has also been very exciting. It's a lot of work,
Of
definitely, to
course.
lead a nonprofit, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm enjoying meeting a whole bunch of different women in STEM. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying like organizing different events just to help them out, connecting with other people in Africa. So it's been amazing. It's really been
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. But
Ah,
aside from like school and all that stuff that I do, just like on a personal level, um, so I guess you could say that I'm someone who I'm very easygoing. I guess you could say like I'm always just kind of going with the flow. I love to have fun with friends. I love to listen to music as well. I'm a Christian as well. So yeah, that's just a little about me.
amazing, amazing. That's a big nutshell, but I really love the fact that you speak about all the different hats that you wear and what makes Anna Anna, because I
Hmm.
really always speak about how somebody's not just one thing and they can be a whole bunch of different things. And I really love it when people embrace that.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
let's get to know a little bit more about your science journey because again, it's Psychom Chat, so we kind of need to know how you ended
Hmm.
up in science. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so unlike a lot of people that are in science, it's not like when I was little, I really knew too much about science or I knew what I wanted to do. like I said, I'm a very go with the flow kind of person, right? And so like, yes, I'm someone who makes plans, but I'm also very like, nah, if they don't work, nah, we'll find another way. So growing up, I was just, yeah, I would even say I was very interested in science, but I think what kind of led me was my sister, because she always knew what she wanted to do. And when she was from a very little age, she wanted to be a doctor. And so going into like high school and everything, she focused on the science. Same with going through university, she focused on the science. And so, when you're a little sister, you always want to be like your older siblings. And so just kind of following her tracks, I was like, okay, let me just try science as well. And in an African household, every African parent like wants their child to be a doctor, lawyer, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So my parents, they always encouraged us with education. They never really told us what to be, but they always just encouraged us to keep on going to school, get good grades and everything like that. So going through high school, I focused on the sciences, and I realized that I actually liked it, and it was interesting to me. Then again, I was like, okay, science is interesting, so let me do a science program. And then at that stage too, I realized that, oh, maybe I want to be a dentist, just because dentist is a healthcare professional. I was very into health as well. And with dentists, it's not like a doctor where you're working around the clock and it's very, very stressful. And you have a 9 to 5 job, you make a lot of money. So I was like, you know what? That could be a good profession for me. And so I did everything that I could to try to be a dentist. I did the DAT, which is the pre-dental test, to get into dental school here in North America. I did all the prerequisite courses. And then after undergrad, when I tried to apply, I didn't get in. So that was like my plan A, B, C, D, E. That was like my only plan. So at that stage, I remember when I graduated undergrad and it was the summer, I was just kind of like, okay, so like where do I go next? Like I didn't have a job. I didn't really know what kind of job I would want to work in, because like I only put my mind on, I just want to be a dentist. So after a conversation with a family member, he suggested that I do a master's just to kind of better my chances to go into dental school. So I was like, okay, then let me just do a master's. I liked chemistry at the time. So I was like, okay, let me just do a master's in chemistry and see how that works out. So I got accepted like very late. I remember I applied in August. I got accepted like 2 weeks after, and then I flew to that school because it was in a province across Canada. So I flew to that school within 2 weeks, and then started within 2 weeks. And so it was very, very like bam, 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 like very quick.
Yeah.
I did my master's. I enjoyed it, but again, I still had my mind on just dental school. And so during my master's, I took the DAT. I scored very, very well, like phenomenally on the DAT. And then I applied again for dental school, but then didn't get in. And so again, like I tried everything, didn't get in. And then, so again, after my master's, I was sitting there, what am I doing with my life? I didn't know, because again, I didn't have any plan B. I just didn't know. So after master's, came back to live with my parents, got some like odd jobs here and there, but nothing directly in my field. And then I went to have a conversation with a professor from my undergrad who I did like a research term with. And he was encouraging me and was like, well, why don't you just do a PhD? Like, you already have a master's, so just add 5 more years of education, like, why not?
He made it sound so simple. Like, oh, just add more 5 more years.
Yeah, like he was very, very convincing. And so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing much with my life, so like, why not? And so I ended up doing a PhD with him. And then during my PhD, that's when I actually realized, like, whoa, I really like research. I really like chemistry. Like, this is something that I can see myself doing. This is a field that I would want to be in. So, like, it didn't actually hit me until I was, like, mid into my PhD, where I was like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I've just continued with that throughout.
Yeah, so you say that it was basically midway through your PhD where you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. So what kept you motivated to keep doing it for at least the first 2.5 years? Because I can imagine, and if anybody, you know that to do a PhD, you need to have serious motivation to keep going, because that thing, whether you like it or not, is going to make you cry. So, so what keeps you motivated in those first 2.5 years before you figure out that, okay, this is it for me?
Yeah, so definitely, like you said, like it was difficult, especially the first 2 years. Like, no one really talks about how much of a learning curve there is because it's completely different from undergrad. I would even say it's different from masters too, because it's just so much is expected on you. You're wearing many hats. There's a lot of things that are coming to you at once. You need to be at a knowledge level where like you know a lot about your field. So it's a huge learning curve. But I would say that what kind of kept me was um, just self motivation. I would say self motivation and God, 100%, because I find with myself, like when I put my mind to something, like I know that I'm gonna finish it, and I'm not someone that quits halfway, right? And so me, I really, really had to motivate myself. I really had to just get over like this is hard, and like yeah, you would complain all the time, maybe even cry, but like every single time we're just like no, like I'm in this for a reason. I know God placed me here for a reason, so I have to finish it and I just have to push through. I would say another thing that helped me, and I probably got more into this in second year, was finding a community. So I remember the first 2 years I felt very isolated and very alone, just because I'm sure we'll get onto this topic, but like not a lot of people look like me within my faculty, right? And so in order to connect with people and just to have people around you, it was really difficult. And I think that's kind of when science communication was getting more popular on social media. And so my sister actually suggested to me, well, why don't you like start a page, just like promoting your science and stuff like that. And so I actually did that. And then I ended up meeting a lot of people over social media that also look like me and were doing something similar. We're in PhD programs. And so just seeing, other people do really, really well in their programs, or seeing them post about their struggles and you can relate to them like, oh, I'm going through that too. So that also really helped, just building community.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I definitely agree with community. As much
Mhm.
as there's a reason why they say no man is an island, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The community, whatever it is that you're into, community keeps you going in those times when things get really, really hard. But
Mhm.
obviously, you are now a doctor, Anna. You've completed your PhD, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's still obviously now you say you're doing research, you're a postdoc researcher. What is your research about, and why specifically did you decide I'm gonna research that?
Mhm. Yeah, so I'll probably just talk about the shift between my PhD and postdoc. So during my PhD, I was studying, well, my research was based off organic chemistry, and essentially we were just building small molecules to help with cryopreservation. And so cryopreservation is the freezing of biological material to preserve them for a long period of time. And so we were just building organic molecules to prevent ice damage during cryopreservation. And so that was something that was very interesting to me. But again, remember I said, going through undergrad, I was really interested in health. And I've always been interested in just health and even the pharmaceutical industry and all of that. And so I was like, if I really want to continue in research, I think I want to do something that I'm really, really interested in and really passionate about. And so I decided to do my postdoctoral research in medicinal chemistry. So it's fairly related, but it is a little different in terms of the field, because now what I'm doing is that we're making small molecules to help prevent disease, essentially. So I'm still doing organic chemistry. I'm still working in the lab in the chemistry field, but now it's directed specifically towards medicinal chemistry, which is just pretty much the starting stages of the drug discovery program. So a lot of times, or essentially when there's a drug on the market, it was made from the lab, right? And so it was made from researchers that were trying to find a target in the body and looking at the body and looking at a specific disease and seeing, okay, why is that disease happening? Is it because there's a protein malfunctioning? Is it because there's a mutation in one of your genes? And how can we target that protein or that mutation with a small molecule to cure that disease? And so that's essentially what we're doing. We're kind of at the beginning stages of drug discovery. So it's very interesting. I'm enjoying it. And again, like whenever you start something new, there's a learning curve, right? So we're still trying to get over that. Yeah, we're still trying to get over that learning curve, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay, so when you say small particles, are you working with nanoparticles?
No, so that's a different field. We're not working with nanoparticles, but we're building small molecules, so small organic molecules.
Okay, that's very interesting. And with preservation, obviously it's one of those very controversial areas of study that have come up in the recent years, especially with people saying, "I'm just gonna freeze myself, so I basically never die." And then when the when the world is renewed or whatever happens, I'll just unfreeze myself and keep on going. What are some things that you found? Because you said obviously you're working a lot with making sure there was little ice damage in the whole freezing process, right? Or maybe not preservation process, maybe that's the word I should use. Have you found anything there that's like maybe could work for humans, or no, definitely no go?
So, I don't doubt that in the future we could get there, but what I was working on and just being in the field, we're still trying to master the cellular level, So obviously with your body is made up of several different cells. Your body is made up of several different organs, several different tissues, and they all react differently to freezing, to low temperatures. So once we master the cellular level, and then we're able to master the tissue level, then we're able to master the organ level, maybe we can master a whole organism, So I would say that in the future, maybe it will get to that stage, but right now, like, we're not even at that level.
So don't believe everything you see in the movies. Basically, that is what you're telling us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, again, movies can be very futuristic, right? And so I do have hope. But in terms of someone freezing like a whole human being and them being able to revive them after, I haven't heard of a case as of yet.
Like you said, it's a work in progress, and that's what science is about, right? Constantly discovering, constantly trying to make improvements and trying to see and understand the world around us, how we can best work together. Okay, that's really cool. But when you're introducing yourself, you mentioned something so beautiful that you are a founder of an NPO, a nonprofit called Empowering Female Minds in STEM. Tell us a little bit about that. Where did that come from? What is it about?
So that started in the midst of the pandemic, actually. So during the pandemic, I remember we couldn't go to the lab anymore because they shut everything down. We had to stay home. And again, when you're a PhD candidate and you're in science, your whole project is in the lab, right? So I couldn't do a lot at home. I was like working here and there, but it gave me a lot of time to just think about like things that were my passion, and something that I always wanted to do was give back to where I come from, which is Ghana, which is a country in Africa. So I've always wanted to give back, and I was just thinking about my struggles and how I really struggled through my PhD, and even just how I said before, like the importance of community, right? And just having people around you to support you, all the things that I wish that I knew starting off that could have made my life easier. And I was just like, okay, why don't I make a whole organization to help women in Ghana? And then eventually it just expanded to let's help all the women in Africa. But yeah, just everyone. So I was like, why don't I just make an organization where we can provide resources, we can provide financial support, we can provide community, we can provide everything that they need in order to succeed. Because I find that, have women in STEM organizations are very popular in different African countries. However, they always cater to girls that are at the high school level or at the elementary school level, right? But then it's like, okay, once these girls decide that they want to go into a STEM program in university or even graduate school, who's helping them like along the way? Because
Yeah.
like you said before, you want to quit and you want to give up during your master's or during your PhD. So
Oh
like
yeah.
who is there or what is there to like kind of carry them along to the point where they graduate and they actually work in their field? And so that's
Mm.
why I catered the organization towards women that are in, you know, in their masters or in graduate school, so that they know that there's a community, and that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that there's other people that have finished their masters and their PhD. And so if you see people like you that have finished that, then you know they can do it too. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where the idea stemmed from.
Ah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. You
Mm-hmm.
know, your organization reminds me a lot of a book that one of the scientists we interviewed wrote, Elodie Coca. I don't know if you've read this. Her book is called Dear Women in STEM. And, you know, it's a collaborative effort amongst different scientists, female scientists, and speaking about the different challenges that they experience being a woman in STEM and how they've overcome those challenges, you know. And it's really great that you've created this community because there's a lot that exists. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of challenges that you know are faced, and sometimes like, but how do I navigate them? So I really think what you decided to do and start is commendable and really amazing. But
Thank you.
before I continue to the next question that I have, I know you guys have a conference coming up.
Yes, we do.
Tell us about it.
Um, yeah, so it's very, very interesting. I'm really excited about it. So it's a research conference, and we kind of did a small. So last year we did a boot camp, and it was a workshop where women came and like they learned different skills from professionals. But during the boot camp, we had a small section for just a few girls to present their research, and it was amazing. They all loved it. And at the end, kind of the reviews that we got were like they would love more opportunities to present their research. So we're like, okay, well, why don't we just do a whole conference, and you know, where women in Africa can come and present their STEM research. That can also be a platform for them to network, to meet other, you know, African women in STEM that are either in their country or different countries. And so we organized a research conference. It's happening April 9th. It's just going to be a day-long conference. So it's at 8 a.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, or which is, I think, 12 p.m. GMT as well. And so it's going to be on a really, really cool platform where they can come and learn about other people's research, also get a chance to present the research. And so we're still accepting abstracts. And that is our deadline for that is this Friday, March 25th. And they can go onto our website, which is www.empoweringfems.com. You can also go to our Instagram platform where you can see the link as well, and they can register and they can also submit an abstract so we can hear more about their research.
Wonderful. And this is open to master's and PhD students,
Yeah,
right?
even undergrads too. I know
Like,
in some schools, the last year of your undergrad, they do a research project. So if they've done that and completed it, they can present as well.
fantastic. So for everybody who's watching, that is what you need to do. You know, just check out the Instagram page. I think that gives you a perfect link to everything else, and you have all the information that's fantastic. That sounds like a really exciting conference. What is the theme?
So the theme is African women breaking barriers in STEM.
Okay. So your
Yeah.
research does not have to be aligned to that. It can just be anything.
Yeah, anything in STEM and science, technology, engineering, math, anything. So we want just a diverse, we want to kind of see what research is going on the continent of Africa, you know?
Amazing,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Wow, that sounds so cool. So you are a science communicator. Obviously, that's why you're on this platform. So let's talk a little bit about the science communication, you know, and just round up. How did you get into the science communication space, and why were you like, I need to communicate my research? I know obviously you spoke that your sister mentioned you starting an Instagram page and so forth, but that stemmed off more community. What else then encouraged you or science communication?
I think it was the one thing where I realized that science is literally everywhere, like all around us. And I think it's also the fact that a lot of people who aren't in science, they kind of shy away from it because they're like, oh, science is just difficult, or science just is really hard. And maybe they had really bad experiences from high school. They had a bad science teacher, or even from undergrad, right? And so they just kind of left science and then forgot about it. And then even, with the whole pandemic that happened too, you saw just the fact that a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on with the vaccine and even how it was made and everything. So there's really that need just for science to be communicated in plain language, just to allow people to understand, and so the fact that, and also the fact that, science isn't that complicated. It could be, like I said, it's all around us. And so what I did kind of with my Instagram was just kind of, letting people know that these little things that, happen, or these things that you see, science is involved in it. And so for me, it was just kind of explaining and just showing people that science is actually fun, it's interesting, and it's all around us. So I would say that's probably why I started with the science communication thing.
And what did you find challenging in getting started? Because I'm assuming you are not like an active science communicator before. And then when you decided to start, what did you find challenging, or something that came up where you're just like, should I be doing this? Am I qualified? I don't know.
Yeah, so I would say number one is just the whole science communicator role was kind of challenging, because when you're in your field and when you're a scientist, you think like the people in your field, right? So to try to explain things in a way that, that would be able to, like, that people that aren't in the field would be able to understand is always challenging. So I always need to like think, okay, what is the simplest way to explain something, and not use all this fancy language, not use like all those science terms and stuff. So that was also very difficult for me. And I would also say like imposter syndrome as well. So like you said, like, thinking, am I qualified to even explain this? Like, it's not even really my field, but like, do I know enough, right? Or am I explaining the right things, because you never want to explain miscommunication or misinformation as well. So also like making sure that I do my research to make sure that like whatever I'm explaining is actually true. It's actually facts.
Yeah. No, I agree. But you're doing a great job so far. So you're doing well. That's good. And you keep going. So that's fantastic. Last question, and then we are done. Well, it's not the last question. It's more like a statement than a question. So complete the following sentence. I am a science communicator because
I would like everyone to realize that there's science all around us.
That's it.
That's it.
That's great. That's great. That's great. I like simple stuff where it's just like, listen, I just want people to know that science is all around them. That's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. You know what, Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. I think I learned so much from you, and I hope everybody who was watching also learned a lot. And we will definitely keep following you. We'll be following Anna, Anna_ the chemist on Instagram, and James, obviously also at Instagram as well. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. It's really exciting and great.
Yes, thank you, and thank you so much for having me. This was a really good chat. Really enjoyed it.
All right, and hopefully we can invite you again for some more chats or whatever else we're doing, and engage a bit more.
Definitely.
All right, thank you so much. All right, then. Have a great day.
You too. We'll talk later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.